Alright, so here's a pepper review for the Blue Ghost pepper. So I got a couple different phenotype plants coming up this year, but this one I'm going to do a taste test is going to be this type of Blue Ghost. Now this plant that the Blue Ghost is growing out of is a 2-year-old plant already, and I will bring this in next year and I'm going to try to get 3 years out of it. I don't know what's happening because the house is still up for sale, and if it doesn't, I'm probably going to pull the house off the market, wait the winter out, and then put the house back up in spring. So that's going to cause complexities for me. So I don't know if I'm going to maintain growing this for the next several years, because just moving these things around are going to be very difficult for me. So anyway, you can see here's the plant leaf type. It's a regular leaf, nothing special. It's very green. There's no purpling in it at all. And what else can I say about it? Stem is generally smooth and waxy, no hair on it at all. It's not like a hairy leg. And here's a look at some of the peppers. All these red ones on here are all the peppers. The ones in the back are the maroon. But yeah, I got a couple different phenotypes. These are some of the smaller ones. These need to come off of here so the plant can start flowering again. I could get maybe a second crop throughout the fall and winter. As I bring that in, it should give me another bumper. And here's the other Blue Ghost. Now I'm going to call this one Blue Ghost X. So when I go to do a review on this, I'm going to actually review it a little differently, because all the pepper phenotypes are coming out a little bit different on this. They're all coming out with this wide top, narrow bottom, very purple, and I don't know what it's going to look like when it turns red. It may have tiger striping. I'm really not sure at this point, because this pepper's acting a little different than the Blue Ghost I'm growing in the back. I don't know why. This particular Blue Ghost came from the same seed package. Now, when I bought these seeds, there were disclaimers on the website that a lot of these seeds were F1s and F2s and F3s, so they're not fully stabilized varieties of peppers. These things could start triggering into different genomes and possibly go back to the original mother or the donor. It could change back at any point. So there's no stability to it, and so adding the suffix or the letter X to the name of the pepper designates that pepper as it's not properly named yet because it's not stabilized. You can name it with an HB or an H. I can name it HR 143571. Give it an HB number, but I'm not looking to pursue the pepper long enough to really give it a number designation yet, because I don't know if it's going to stay stable. So some of these may change back. Some of them, it's going to swing around for a while. You got to grow these peppers for 10 years before you start to see continuity in the variety. And once it gets stable, I can then rename it and do something else with it. But as of right now, this is still a Blue Ghost. It's probably an F2 or an F3 from its original creator. So it's hard to say. I mean, these are very young. These are very young seeds. So, it's a young species. So it's going to take a while for them to stabilize. But I figured I'd show you that too. Now this Blue Ghost here, this one's got a very purple stem, whereas the other one I just showed you had no purpling in it. In fact, we'll walk back to it. This one's got a lot of purpling in it. The peppers are very, very purple. Whereas this Blue Ghost in here, this stayed green pretty much right to the point where it started changing color. When it changed color, it turned orange and now red. So not sure what's going on with that species or that variety. Now you can see here. Oh no, I'm sorry, I showed you no, that's right. That's the right pepper, but wrong pot. You could see here, it's all green. There's no purpling in it at all. Not even at the high spots. It's just, this plant never produced purpling in the peppers. Now, it did have other plants in here at one time, which are now dead. They long died by now. But if I remember, some of them may have been purple as well. So it is what it is. Some of them are going to be purple. Some of them are going to be red. I've also had that issue with the, I believe it's the cappuccino naga, the cappuccino naga. One of them's brown and one of them's red, so I got to do a video about that. I'll try and combine it into one video instead of separating it, but that's what goes on with these, you know, hybridized peppers that aren't stabilized yet. You're going to get stuff that's going to jump all over in shape, size, color, the way the plant grows. You know, you're just getting all kinds of crazy stuff. So that's one of the reasons why I want to keep this plant alive for a few years, is so I can stabilize a single variety and get several harvests of peppers out of it, so the plant, maybe the plant will stabilize faster. I don't know. I'm going to try it and we'll see what happens. So anyway, let's pick one of these, and I'm going to pick a small one because I did eat one of these already, and I can tell you right now, it was not a good experience. Here, I'll grab one, fell off the other day. So they're going to generally look like this. Now, even though I'm calling it a blue ghost because these came from the original seeds. These aren't seeds I grown from my collection. These are seeds that came out of the package. So whatever this is, it's got some blue ghost in it, but I don't think it's a true blue ghost. But we're going to do the video under this one as blue ghost, and maybe I'll put this one as blue ghost X, and I'll put the other one as blue ghost. It's hard to say because the shapes vary so much on this variety that now the one plant is always putting these out, but everything that came out of that seed package is coming up different because it's not stable. So you're going to be seeing a lot of this kind of stuff. All right, so let's turn you around and give it a taste test. All right, guys, so here we are. We're doing a taste test on this one today. And this is the Blue Ghost. I'll probably call this one the Blue Ghost X because there's several different phenotypes coming out of this pepper, and I can't really determine which one is true Blue Ghost, except for the one that has purpling in it, and I would imagine that's probably the one that was meant to be Blue Ghost. But again, the pepper is an F1, and so I think when I bought the seeds, they were F1s or F2s. It would be an F2 now that I'm growing it, but it's hard to say if it's going to stay stable or not. But I will try to designate them individually. Pepper, you know, Blue Ghost, you know, X, then maybe Blue Ghost X2 if another phenotype comes out. And I will save those seeds individually. And eventually, if I can grow those out for a couple years and get those to stabilize, I will eventually offer seeds. I'm just not going to waste your time offering seeds on other than what you see, because it's not going to be stable. It could turn into something else. It could turn into a Buchalokia. I don't know. I don't know what he crossed them with. But anyway, here it is. Yep. Nice and big on the screen. So that's it. Let's take a bite. And I'm not looking forward to this one. I'm probably going to spit it out, to be honest with you. Well, so far, so good. No guarantee on that. It's going to be hot. I'm on the verge of heat cupping right now. I pretty much ate the whole thing, too. It varies. With this pepper, sometimes they're extremely hot. Sometimes they're not as hot. It really varies from pepper to pepper with this variety. So far, so good. This one's not killing me. I'm not heat cupping, but my body was almost going into heat cups. The heat is building. It's hitting the back of the throat, the tonsil area, not the deep back of the throat. There's only a few peppers that go all the way to the very back of your throat, like scorpions do that. All the way to the back of your throat. You're absolutely screaming from those things. But this thing, it's got all around the tonsils covered. Feels really good. If you had a sore throat, man, that'd feel good. It's not a gut cramper, but it's really close to being a gut cramp. It is getting hot. My eyes are beginning to get watery. The heat is all around the tongue. The flavor now. The flavor was Soap City. Soap City. I should name the video Soap City. It tasted like soap. I don't know any other way to put it, but that's my way of telling you. that the level of capsaicin was extremely high. Very, very powerful flavor of soap. I was very scared once I started chewing it because I knew at some point it was going to do some serious attacking. The main concentration of heat, though, is right on the tonsils. Man, right over the tonsils. Actually feels really good. I love that burning heat feeling on the tonsils area, because that's usually where you get a cold, when that part flames up. And that feels good. It just really does. But the rest of the flavor of it, it had like a nice this is probably the best way to start describing these kind of peppers. That I mean, in general, you're going to have sweet, appley type flavor peppers. Then you're generally going to have habanero, fruity flavored peppers. You're going to get that kind of a flavor. And then you got all the other stuff, which is generally not usually sweet, and they have a very cayenne pepper flavor. And those are like your three main pepper profiles. Sweet with no heat, habanero fruity flavor, and then you get these other peppers that, like cayennes, they generally have, I don't know how to say it. If you ever eat dried red pepper, there's a certain flavor to red pepper. If you like peppers, you eat red pepper, you know what I'm talking about. It's a totally different experience than eating that pepper if it was, fresh. This kind of a pepper falls into that line of the red pepper dried taste, kind of no sweetness, kind of straightforward flavor. In my opinion, I would like to use that in salsa. I also like to use that in cooking, like whenever I'm cooking like meats and things like that, or if I'm going to do like a side dressing, like if I cook a steak and I'm going to do a side dressing of potatoes, peppers, mushrooms, garlic, and onions, something like that, and you kind of fried it up in a cast iron pan. I like to take these peppers and chop them in half or something like that, or even throw them in whole, just take the sticks off them, and just throw them in there and let them cook with that and marinate the flavor into that. It makes such a delicious flavor. These are probably really good for drying too, so you can really dry these out very easily because they're very thin. And they'll dry and probably make a great type of, powder. Yeah. But now, as far as the intensity of the heat, I'm not going to put it that high, but I have eaten some of these that were absolutely eye-crossing, where you're running for tomatoes to cool yourself down. I have eaten them super hot, so I can't tell you, like this particular one we just taste tested, I would say the capsaicin heat on that was probably, I would say between 60 and 80,000, somewhere like that. Not quite 100,000. But I have eaten these that were well over 350,000. Way over habanero. I would say probably, I've eaten them where they were probably half a mil. In the Scovilles, if I was to try to relate it to something. Way over habanero. I've eaten them where they were absolutely eye-crossing. This one wasn't that bad. The heat was pretty intense. It's coming down now. It's not bad. I like the flavor. I didn't care for the soapy flavor, but again, when you dry these out and make powder with them, there is no soapy flavor. So keep that in mind as you grow these, and you're going to eat them, whether you're going to eat them fresh or dry them out. When you dry them out, they make an awesome red pepper powder, and if you blend it and turn it to a real fine powder, you could throw like tortillas in there, like buy a bag of tortilla chips, and plain tortillas. And you can dip it in that powder, and that will coat that whole tortilla chip in that powder. And when you eat one, you go to make a taco with that thing, that is going to light you up real good, because you're getting probably 4 or 5 of these in there in that micro powder when you do that, and you're really going to get lit up. So just be careful doing that. But yeah, I really like the pepper. It's a very thin wall. Okay, it's a thin wall, and it's going to dry very quickly on you. You pick them off the plant, you put them out in the sun every day for about 2 or 3 days, 4 days maybe. It'll dry right out. You could pretty much crumble it up, and don't put it, if you do dry it out, don't immediately put it in a pepper jar and let it, put the lid on it. It still has moisture in it. It takes a long time for that moisture to really fully come out. So you dry it out. and then, you know, put it inside of a bowl with a screen or something on top, and let it continue to dry for, you know, a couple weeks after that. And then once it's fully dry and there's, you know, it's fully safe and everything, you know, bugs in it, got in it, you got the screen over the top, let it fully dry out, and then from there you can put it into your, you know, your container, you know, your pepper shaker, whatever you want to call it. And then you could do it that way, and you know, that's in my opinion, that's probably the best way to do it. Don't dry them and just. I've already had them go moldy on me, even though it was dried and I crumbled up in my hands and put it. They still got kind of funky. So, yeah, just keep that in mind. Just let it dry out. Put it in a bowl, like I say, for a couple weeks after it's dried in the sun. You know it's fully dried, and then put a screen over the top of it, or a piece of cheesecloth or something, and just let it continue to dry that way. For, you know, let it balance with the humidity in your room. If it's generally balanced with humidity in your house, your room, 45% humidity or something, it's not going to mold up on you. Pretty much all the moisture is equilibrated and came out. So, but yeah, that was your pepper review for the Blue Ghost. Again, we will do a video on this Blue Ghost here. I'll call this one the Blue Ghost, and I'll call the one we're doing now Blue Ghost X, because I really don't know how to designate it yet. I don't think it's quite the same thing. They're growing rather different, and unfortunately I'm gonna have to grow those out every year, and that's gonna be a lot of work for me. So alright, so like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.